now. And operator, if you want to make us live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Monday afternoon update. We're live here at the Emergency Operations Center. Today is our first City Council meeting since we declared the state of local emergency. It's very weird for me to be the only one in council chambers and all the other councillors are calling in from home. I kind of like it. But I don't think that is actually going to continue. I feel like I just did a press conference because I did at City Hall, but I wanted to make sure we had the opportunity to do our regular briefing with everyone today. I hate that I always have to start with this, but we've lost some more people since the last time we spoke here in Calgary, and we're up to 14 lives, 14 Calgarians whose lives have been taken by this virus, and it doesn't get any easier. It gets tougher every single time. When we talk about this, this will not be our last update with numbers like that as we work our way through this, but it reminds all of us not only do we share our love and our community with the people and the friends and the family of the people who passed away, because they're our neighbors, there are people. But ultimately, it reminds us that every one of us needs to redouble our efforts. Because even though it sounds trite to keep talking about how the future is in our own hands and our own clean hands, it really is. And we have to make sure that we are doubling down on our physical distancing efforts, on doing every single thing we can to prevent spreading the virus. You've heard me say it a million times. You'll probably hear me say it a million times more, which is don't act like someone who doesn't want to get the virus. Act like someone who already has it and doesn't want to spread it. Act like every single person with whom you come into contact is your 90-year-old grandmother. And together we have to continue to do the work of planking that curve. So we got a lot of news to get through today, so I'm going to turn it over, as always, to Chief Tom Sampson, the Chief of Calgary Emergency Management Agency. We have with us today as well a number of other guests, and I know that Tom will go through who's with us and some news from everyone. So Tom, I'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today. I promise you that spring will come. So, to those of you who were out this weekend, know that spring will come. We thank you for the physical distancing that you've been doing. We did have bylaw out to help a few folks, but thank you very much for that work. Like the mayor, I'd like to pause for a moment and just note that it is the anniversary of the Humboldt bus crash, and I want to recognize that. We think of the families who have added challenge today as they mourn the loss of loved ones in an already challenging time. So our thoughts are with them, and thoughts with all of the first responders that went to that incident and are carrying the load of that today with them. So I said this before, this is an extended event. This is not a marathon, it's an ultra marathon. It might even be 2 ultra marathons back to back. We can't take our foot off the gas. You've been doing great work. You've been social distancing. You've been appropriately isolating yourself when required to. And for the most part, I think Calgarians have been stepping up to the plate. And we're pleased that you are. Thank you for that. We're doing a recalibration to a new normal. And, I hope that one day we'll get back to a place where we can shake hands or hug friends when we see them, but we're not there yet. And so I want to thank you for that. So with all that being said, you'll note that on Friday we noted that there might be a shift occurring in the tide, a change. And over the weekend, Dr. Tam, the federal Minister of Health, has said the following: wearing a medical mask is an additional measure you can take to protect others around you. Protect others, not protecting yourself. So this is about you putting on your own little, whatever type of medical mask. And what she means by those words is, if you had the virus and if you were coughing, it might, to some degree, protect those individuals around you. It won't protect you if an individual around you is openly coughing, those masks are not meant to filter that out. And so you still need to practice your 2 meter distancing. You still need to practice all the same things. Think about our Calgary Transit. We're taking people in through the back door. We're sparing the driver you going by. We put alternate seating in, so we kind of force you to spread out when you get on our buses. Those are all good measures. And even if you're wearing one of those homemade masks, if you choose to do that, that's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that you should bunch up. It doesn't mean that you should all go to a party with a mask on. It means that we need you to continue doing those efforts. And if you choose to wear a mask, good for you. Good on you. So medical masks must be kept where they're needed. And as a result, that's for healthcare workers and for our front line workers in police, fire, and other essential services. So we will post to our website something from a link from the US, the CDC, on how to make your own mask if you wish to wear that. But again, not mandatory. It more protects others from you than yourself. The other part of that is that we'll await what the province of Alberta has to say. Alberta Health Services is the one we look to. So we haven't been mandating the wearing of a mask in public, but we'll wait for direction from Dr. Hinshaw. I have great confidence. I have to say that quite publicly. We have great confidence the way Dr. Hinshaw and the staff within Alberta Health Services have been managing this problem. I can tell you that they are some of the best, and that the way you have been following their instructions, we're extremely pleased. I'd also like to address some questions that we're getting around carpooling. Yes, it's okay for you to travel in a vehicle with someone other than a family member or a household member. But we are suggesting that if you're going to travel with somebody and you're going to be in that car, I mean, the ideal situation is you're by yourself. But if you're traveling with somebody, you can put the driver in the front seat, obviously front left, and you can put the passenger in the rear right side, so that you actually get some physical distancing between the two of you. Obviously, that's the preference, and that just anytime you can get distancing into wherever you are, that's a good thing. I can assure you that under the Health Act, there's no provision for ticketing individuals who are simply you and a neighbor decide to go to the store to get something. That's not, so there's been a bit of misinformation out there right now. And I can tell you that under the Health Act, that's not a violation, and that's not what people have been issued tickets for. I was directly in touch with CPS this weekend. They did level 3 tickets, but they leveled 3 tickets against people who are showing a blatant disregard to public safety. And so they will deal with those, and so too will our bylaw officers in the city of Calgary. If I can change topics for you, I promised you spring was coming, and spring cleanup also. We were meant to be sweeping streets this morning, and it's not time for that yet, obviously with the snow. That'll start as soon as we can, and as soon as we can get out and get through your communities, and we'll need your help to try and get vehicles off the road at the appropriate time when we're coming through. You'll be able to see our street sweepers live on calgary.ca. You can know when they're coming through your community, and you can try and move your cars into back lanes. We know it's going to be more challenging this year, right? So many of us are at home or working from home, and so it'll be more of a challenge, but we know that together we can make this work. A couple other things I'd like to touch on. Some households will notice a change in your blue, green, or black cart pickups. So the green and the black cart have been down a bit. The blue's been holding steady. But if you're looking for information on that, check online at calgary.ca again, and we'll give you the information about how that might affect your community. Another comment that I've been asked to comment on is, with so many people home, sometimes we forget that playgrounds are in effect all the time. With so many people home, and whilst they're not supposed to be on the actual playground equipment, people will be in playgrounds. And so please observe the 30-kilometer-per-hour requirement in those areas. And with that, please welcome our Chief Bylaw Officer, Ryan Plakaitis. I'm sorry, I'll say it wrong, Ryan. I apologize. But Ryan, to talk to you a little bit about the work that they're doing to keep citizens safe.
Thank you, Chief Sampson. Good afternoon. Just want to reiterate some of the proactive messaging that we're trying to get out to members of the public around adhering to the social distancing requirements and the mass gatherings of more than 15 people. I think what we've noticed over the last week is that most Calgarians understand this. They recognize the importance of adhering to these new regulations, and they understand that this is going to be essential in helping to flatten the curve. Unfortunately, we do have some folks who do not, and I want to, I guess, direct my message to those individuals that we will have peace officers and other uniformed members out patrolling popular parks this weekend and in the foreseeable future to make sure that the physical distancing requirements and the mass gathering requirements are met. Our department philosophy is compliance before enforcement, but at this point we've relayed the message consecutively, and in some situations where we cannot get compliance, then we will be looking at issuing fines under the Public Health Act. Public safety is the utmost importance in this issue, and we do need Calgarians' participation in making sure that there's compliance. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And I'd like to welcome back, if I could, our Director of Community Neighborhoods, Melanie Hulsker, to speak about a great resource for families and then try something maybe entertaining, I think, and engaging in this time of distancing. Melanie?
Thanks, Tom. As we've all talked about now, people are spending a great deal of time at home. And as we enter into the 4th week of staying at home as much as we have, the City of Calgary is launching a new resource for families and community members at calgary.ca/at-home. Here, you'll find a number of resources to help keep busy at home. There are activities that are focused on emotional wellness that our team has put together, a full week's worth of online activities that take about 90 minutes for each of those activities. There's curriculum for small children in kindergarten to grade 3. There's curriculum for middle school students in grades 4 to 6. And then there's also activity plans for those kids that are in grade 7 and higher. So there really is something for every age group. The curriculum includes activities around emotional wellness with videos, along with activities to think about mindfulness and your emotions. In addition, there's some content on nature journaling that families can participate in their own neighborhoods. There's fitness videos to help people stay physically active, including a focus on seniors and adults, as well as some for kids and youth. There's also information on crafts and games. There's a whole section with a multitude of crafts and games that we put together where we think you'll be able to do those crafts and those games with supplies that already exist in your homes. Finally, on this page, calgary.ca/at-home, you'll find information with links to our partners who are offering things like concerts online, webinars, seminars, and tours of their museums, for example. In addition, because we know that not all families have access to the internet, we've created over 800 activity kits, and we've developed a plan to have them safely delivered to particularly isolated families and those that don't have internet access. So they will be receiving these kits. The kits contain booklets of simplified guided activities that parents and caregivers can go through with their children. Additional supplies such as dice and playing cards and small toys for crafts, yarn, bracelets are all included, and the intent is that there's enough goods and activities to keep those kids and their family busy for a month. And we'll continue to look at this as our orders to stay at home continue. The reaction to these kits so far has been amazing. It's been very positive. The children who are receiving them are doing so with smiling faces and excitement. As you can imagine, as they're forced to stay home, they're not seeing their friends and they're not always getting that interaction. So we're really pleased that the city has been able to support this.
Thanks, Melanie. I'm always impressed at how incredibly ingenious our staff are in the city of Calgary when they have to go forward and they find new solutions. And talking about ingenious staff, our Calgary Fire Department Chief, Steve Donworth, is here and to talk about one of his latest programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We created this program and kicked it off on Friday, and wow, we thought it would be a success, and it's been a real success. We've got around 5,000 requests right now through to the end of May for our crews to drop by on people's birthdays, just to recognize that they can't have a normal birthday, and most of them seem to be pretty excited that we would come and do this. So we actually have a 96-year-old lady is one of the people we have lined up tomorrow, and what a great thrill for her. We've already heard from her family, and I'm sure it'll be a great visit. One thing we are struggling with, though, is just the volume. Over the weekend, we had, like I say, thousands of requests, and we've put some extra staff, some administrative staff on that today, though, and we're catching up, and we'll get there. But just be patient with us. As we've said all along, this is subject to us not being tied up on emergency calls at the same time as well. But we will get there, and I know we've done a lot of them over the weekend. So in particular, I'd just like to say thank you to Calgarians for your support, and hopefully it makes a special day for some of those young folks and for some of those not so young folks. Thank you.
My favorite part of the birthday thing is doing it with the seniors, which I think is awesome. And I have been seeing some pictures on social media about people who are very excited about this stuff going on, and I really do think it is terrific. So to reiterate, you've got some really interesting things for the kids with Calgary Neighborhoods, calgary.ca/at-home, for some ideas for things you can do to help explore the city without leaving your house. And I know a lot of folks are getting nervous about what is my life looking like with these kids at home. I really want to encourage all of you to download a garbage app. It is totally garbage, and it's very important. And that is the Calgary Waste and Recycling app. Because as you know, the dates are changing. This was going to happen anyway in April, but now it is happening with people being at home a lot. So I know that my dates are changing. I was supposed to put my black card out tonight. It's actually my blue card now tonight, and my black card tomorrow. So do download the app and never be behind on what you're supposed to be doing there. You heard the chief as well talk about street sweeping, which was supposed to start today. Will probably start tomorrow now. And again, the appropriate City of Calgary Roads app can help you know when street sweeping is coming to your neighborhood. It is going to look a little different this year. And if in fact you are have your car parked on the road and you miss the gravel, it's going to be hard to come back and re-sweep the road, which we've done in the years past. So we're actually asking you to, if you can, sweep up that gravel in your parking spot, double bag it and throw that in your black bin, so that the roads can be safe for everyone. That said, the best thing to do is let someone else do the work for you. So try to keep your vehicles off the street. Even if you see the street sweeper coming down the street and you want to double park in a driveway or go around the corner until the street sweeper goes by, that's okay. The street sweepers will be equipped with cameras to record parking violations. You can see all the details on the app. It has to do with if you then go back and sweep your space, you're not going to get a ticket, and so on. But you do need to check that out and make sure you know what's happening on that front. You know, I've always talked about clean hands, clear heads, open hearts. I want to talk a little bit about open hearts right now and talk about the various things that people are doing in order to look after the community. I've been really heartened by the extraordinary number of volunteers who've come forward to be able to help other people. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, I've been seeing some comments on social media. Why is the mayor always putting his hands in his pockets? Why? It is my trick to not touch my face. And I got to tell you right now, my nose is really itching, but I'm trying to avoid it. In any case, so I'll just keep talking. In any case, I've really been heartened by the volunteers who've come forward doing lots of great things. That Facebook page, YYC COVID-19 Volunteers, is going gangbusters. It's evolved into a thing where people say, I need this, and I live in this neighborhood. And tons of people underneath say, I'm here to help you. I was really heartened to see a new grocery delivery service. I think it's just called YYC Grocery Delivery, which is staffed by volunteer university students who are willing to go and pick up groceries for people who are in isolation or elderly people or those who cannot leave their homes. This stuff is great, but I want to say something. Stay safe. So if you're like I was in university and you find a great new volunteer option and you're going to pick up groceries for people, you're going to do that 16 hours a day. But I want you to stay safe. And I want you to understand that you too are putting yourself at risk if you're out in the community too much. The most common question that I get these days is, why aren't you locking everything down? Why aren't you quarantining? And ultimately, these are decisions that public health makes, and we take our cues from them. But I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding here that I think I want to clarify. Unless you are performing an essential service or you are doing unavoidable volunteer work for someone else, you need to consider yourself locked down. You need to stay home. There are exceptions. You can go out for maybe up to an hour a day, stay in your neighborhood, practice social distancing, but get some fresh air, go for a walk. Certainly that is allowed. If you are going to pick up essential groceries or pharmacy equipment, send one member of your family. Don't make it a family outing. And while you're out, make sure you are practicing that physical distancing as best you can. Make sure you're not touching anything. Make sure as soon as you get home, you wash your hands, maybe you change your clothes, and make sure you're keeping the people within your own home safe as well. But ultimately, you are locked down. We are all locked down. And if we are able to continue with the discipline that we've got, then we will be able to flatten that curve and we won't be able to take even further measures. But I think that's important for people to know. But what you're not locked down from is connecting with others and giving to others and helping others out. And I want to talk about something that happened yesterday, which is I got a phone call from that great Calgary entrepreneur and philanthropist, Arlene Dickinson. And she had seen that in Ottawa, Mayor Jim Watson, a great, great mayor, had partnered with the CFO of Shopify and with the Ottawa Food Bank to do a Blitz fundraising drive for the Ottawa Food Bank because he was worried about food security in Ottawa. And Arlene called me and said, we're going to copy that and do exactly the same thing. So if you go to my Twitter page, you will see a conversation between me, James McCara, and Arlene Dickinson, James McCara is the president and CEO of the Calgary Food Bank, talking about the food bank and food security. And Arlene, thank you, Arlene, has agreed to donate $1 to the food bank of every retweet of that tweet up to $10,000. And I didn't bring my phone up here with me, but before I came up, we were at 9,943 tweets. So I'm going to announce that we hit 10,000. We did hit 10,000. So I'm going to announce that we hit 10,000. What are we sitting at now? 10 even? Excellent. So we hit 10,000. So thank you, Arlene. But the point is not for Arlene to give us her money. I'm sure she would have given the 10,000 anyway. The point is to spread awareness of how we can all give. You can give to the Calgary Food Bank. You can do that through ATB Cares, and they'll double your donation. I think double, they will add to your donation. I shouldn't say too much about that. But for those of us who are lucky enough to still have work, for those of us who are lucky enough not to be that worried about our bills this month, this is really the time that we have to come together and we have to give even more than we normally would. And I encourage you to find those worthy organizations that are serving Calgarians and give where you can. Now, the last thing that I'll say before we go to questions is there is a city council meeting today. And that city council meeting is we did a bunch of city business because city business continues, but this afternoon, as soon as we're done here, will largely be focused on financial assistance the city can provide to homeowners and to businesses. And I'll give you a sneak preview. The city is not in a great financial position at the moment. We're losing up to $15 million per week in lost revenue and increased expenses. At the same time, we are very concerned about taking away the stress on people who are worried about their property tax payments. And so today, Council will have a proposal before them to, as a first step in what we are able to do for citizens, to at least take away the worry of those property tax payments that you're paying every month or that are due if you're like me and you pay them in one fell swoop that are due at the end of June. If you are able to, and I shouldn't say more about that because Council has to decide, but ultimately the message is if you're able to pay all or a portion, go ahead and do that now. But if you're worried about the ability to pay those things, we're going to hopefully, if Council agrees, allow you without interest or penalty to be able to defer those payments to later on in this year. I shouldn't say too much more about that because council is going to have a debate about that, but that is what's being put forth before council today. Calgarians have responded to every crisis in the same way, which is together, which is understanding that we are stronger together. And we will continue to do that as we climb this mountain and as we look to what I know will be a bright future. Now, Tom, you learned a new sign, but you didn't do it. So you're going to ask me to do it, all right? So, Wendy, we're going to try and do this together for COVID, all right? There you go. Hopefully that was all right. Thank you. Thanks very much, Wendy. Thank you. And let us go to questions now. So, operator, we'll take the first question now.
First question is Kevin Nimick with C. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hi there. I do have a question for the mayor right off the top here. So the application portal for the province's Emergency Isolation Support Fund has closed. We've heard from many people who thought they would be accepted and were denied in their application for some funding. Do you think the province is doing enough to support Calgarians, or do you have any concerns with the way the province has set up their funding?
Well, of course, that is a question for the provincial government. I know that they have been thoughtful and generous in what they're bringing forward. I also know that that one-time funding was meant to be until the Canada Emergency Relief Benefit kicked in, and that kicked in today. So I don't want to do the other orders of government's work for them, but I will tell people that if you think you're eligible for the new CERB, the Canada Emergency Relief Benefit, the applications start this week. Today is, if your birthday is January, February, March, they're just trying to spread this out a little bit. Tomorrow is April, May, June, and so on through the rest of the week. My understanding is the portal is working very well in accepting these applications, regardless of what day your birthday is. They are attempting to get you the funds by direct deposit 3 days later. So hopefully we will be able to have some relief for people soon. As for the province's one-time funding, that really is a question for the Premier. But ultimately, I know that that was really meant to be bridge funding until the Canada Emergency Benefit comes in. Next question.
We currently have no further questions on the line. If anybody would like a question, please press *1 within the next 10 seconds.
Outstanding. This has never happened before. It's mainly because I just did a giant press conference at City Hall. And when I told everybody, but I'm going to the EOC, they said, we're here. Answer our questions now. So I did. Anything else, operator?
Kevin has it looks like Kevin has a follow-up if you'd like to take it.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
All right, here it comes.
Flora, I can keep asking questions. That's fine with me. I do have a follow-up for Chief Sampson. I'm just, he mentioned 3 cases where police did administer tickets on the weekend. Does that bring the total to 4 overall cases, or are there more that I'm not aware of?
We were trying to recount that today, and quite honestly, I can't speak for the Calgary Police Service. I believe that in the Calgary and area, there's probably at least 5 tickets out there. But again, I think those are best directed to either the RCMP or the Calgary Police Service.
Okay, well, maybe just a more general question then. I'm wondering if you can speak to how people performed this weekend. I know you mentioned it off the top in terms of the social distancing, and the city's done some measures around trying to space people out and open up some road space. Do you feel that the message has gotten through? Do you feel like people are doing the right thing, or is there still an extra step to go?
No, I think for the most part, I think we should all be very encouraged by how Calgarians are behaving. And again, the people who are showing blatant disregard are being dealt with, and that's only appropriate. And I don't think Calgarians would expect anything less than that. But for the most part, when we're venturing out, we're giving ourselves space between others. We're not bunching up as groups ourselves. We're being careful of our seniors, being careful of our youth with our seniors. So we're really pleased. Now, we know that's the case in what I would call somewhat questionable, almost wintry weather. And I am a little bit concerned about when the good weather, comes and we're all outside, whether we can behave the same way. But I'm quite confident that Calgarians understand this issue. We spent a lot of time on education as opposed to enforcement. And we're really pleased at how Calgarians have responded so far.
We have a question from Madeline Smith with the Calgary Herald. Go ahead, Madeline.
Hello. Just following up with that, I don't know if this is for Chief Sampson or for the Chief Bylaw Officer, but are there any more details about those 3 cases in which tickets were given out? What exactly were the circumstances? Was it people walking too close together outside or something else? What was going on there?
Madeline, I feel like I just saw you. I'm looking at both chiefs here, and the answer is that really is a question for the police. But I can tell you that they don't take this stuff lightly. So, you heard today that our philosophy always is education before enforcement. But there is a limit, as Chief Sampson always reminds us. And if you are in blatant disregard for your own and particularly for others' safety, then you will in fact receive a ticket. And my understanding is that the cases this weekend were blatant disregard for public safety. Is that right, correct, Chief Sampson? All right, so operator, if there are no more questions, are there any more?
Yeah, we have a question from Darren Krause
Okay.
with Livewire Calgary. Go ahead, Darren.
We'll make this the last one. Thank you. All right, Darren, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you very much for taking the question. As you're probably aware, the self-isolation units for Calgary's homeless population, they're hoping to be prepared and finished up by the end of today. This kind of, I know that there was preparations in place for these, and then the plan was all along to open them up, but it seems like this kind of came about quite quickly. Are you aware of any cases in Calgary's homeless population right now, and that kind of expedited this whole thing?
I'm not, but it was important to expedite it because, as you've heard me say for several days now, getting community transmission within a population that doesn't have the ability to self-isolate the way the rest of us do, don't have access to a sink to wash your hands, may not have hand sanitizer, may be sleeping in congregational conditions. This was a critical public health issue. And so while we have opened overflow shelters with the greatest safety measures possible, it was also very important to take people who were symptomatic and really allow them to self-isolate. And I don't think I'm saying too much by saying a local hotel has stepped up to make that work. They've been working hard to get the hotel ready. The difference here is the other shelters, you can screen people and take some people into different kinds of housing. In this particular case, they have to take anyone who is symptomatic or tested positive, and sometimes those people may have different challenges. So there was some work to do to retrofit the hotels there. But my understanding is that was opening soon. Now that you tell me it's today, that's news to me. I know that's what they were aiming for. But certainly that's been underway for some time as an adjunct to the congregational housing that we've looked at. All right, thank you, everybody. We will see you here again on Wednesday. Council continues to meet, and there will likely be some news coming out of that this afternoon. Take care.